Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, we're talking about the unalivings of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Monique's ex husband, Michael McKee, is accused of this crime, and we are learning a lot more about who Michael McKee is and who Spencer and Monique are. There's a lot to talk about with all the latest information right after this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face. They called me too loud, too much, too strong, but honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is January 15th, 2026. It is currently 10:40 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hello. 1 second here. Let me put- How's everyone doing tonight? Good to see you all. Hello, guys. Really do appreciate you. Wendy, hello. Leslie, Carol, Mallory, good to see you. Pam, Lovey's house. Sue, hello. Tina, Becca, Pam, Wild Angel, Roxy, Ruby, Wendy, Preschool Granny, Cherie, Leslie, always keeping it real. Pam, Connie, good to see you. Carol, Pam, Garden Critters, Allison, Passion Flower, Connie, Lovey's House, Wait, 1966. How you doing, babe? Roxy, Christy, Ruby, Sadie's girl. Good to see everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hello, Animal Keeper, Liz. Hello, Kathleen. Good to see everyone as we're popping on here. Please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Would be very, very grateful, and share the live stream out for extra bonus points. Tonight we're talking about the case of Spencer and Monique Tepe, who were tragically unalived in their home while their 1 and 4-year-old babies slept. And that was the last night that they would ever be together alive. Very, very sad situation. And it's all because police say allegedly 39-year-old Michael McKee, Monique Tepe's ex-husband, is accused of unaliving this beautiful couple, Spencer and Monique Tepe. And we are learning a lot more the last few days. I think, what is it, next week? Next Friday, there is a hearing for Mr. McKee that he will hopefully be transferred over to Columbus, Ohio, and will start getting the show on the road. As of now, he has pled not guilty, and we'll have to see where all that takes us. Got some new things in. One thing, this just came out just a little bit ago. We'll watch. Friends say the arrest in Tepe unalivings was no surprise, and that's because there was nobody else that anyone could even fathom that would do this. And one of the Tepe's friends, I believe it's friends, yes, I think it's Monique's friend, sits down and does a pretty decent size interview, and she talks about the conversations that she has had with Monique about her ex. Very interesting. We're going to watch that as well. Let me pop this up. I've got to go change the temperature in here because I am burning up. Is it cold where you guys are at? It's freezing here. Not liking it. Not liking it. This came out just a little bit ago. We're going to watch this real quick.
Spencer and Monique Tepe were found shot to death in their Wineland Park home on December 30th. Their 2 children were inside at the time, but were not physically harmed. Police say there were no signs of forced entry.
Monique's ex-husband, Michael McKee, is accused of killing the couple. In a story you'll see only on 10 TV, friends tell Lacey Crisp why they suspected McKee from the start. Lacey.
Well, Gina Spinelli tells me this house is the place where memories were made, and now it's a nightmare.
If you knew Monique, you knew this was what happened to her.
Gina Spinelli has been friends with Spencer and Monique Tepe for years.
This is the long form interview that we're going to view here in just a minute. I've got the entire interview. 11 degrees here. It feels like 1. It's about the same here. It's ridiculous. Ugh.
And says Mo's smile
Look
would
at that
light up
smile.
a room. She explained Mo felt grateful for having Spencer after such a hard first marriage to Michael McKee.
She never called it. I didn't even know his name. She never said Michael. She said my ex. She said he was bad. She said abusive. I don't think I ever got the impression that she was afraid of him. I got the impression that she hated him and that she knew things were bad there. And I don't think it ever fully left her mind. I don't think anyone thought that this was going to happen.
So, according to her, it sounds like, Monique did not like him either, which is common. And, your ex is for a reason. Some, times you can be friends afterwards, and sometimes you just can't. But if she did, not like him like that, it sounds like there was some real tension because it's not like we got to remember this. And this is something I was thinking about and I kind of forgot, if you will, that yes, Spencer and Monique were truly only married. I mean, a total of 2 years, but they were, on, I guess, good terms for 7, 8 months or so. And you think, like, a lot of people, they just meet someone, they'll marry them, it'll be a quick marriage, and then it's kind of over. But Monique and McKee had a long history together before they ever dated, before they ever married, right? They kind of grew up together in a sense when they were a lot younger, right? So we don't know what all happened during that time either, right? So we just got to kind of remember that.
Happen. I also don't think that she ever thought he would leave her alone for the rest of her life.
Columbus police said there weren't any reports filed regarding abuse or a request for a restraining order against McKee. When Spinelli got the call with the devastating news that two of her dear friends had been killed inside their home, she only thought of one person, the person police arrested Saturday and charged Sunday with premeditated murder.
Do you have any idea why now, after all of these years, that he's accused of doing this heinous act?
I think it's just because everything you see the wedding video, everything that people see is who they really were. And they were so perfect and they were so wonderful. And I think he couldn't live with it. I think he could not fathom her happiness. And she was so happy.
Spinelli tells me
That what she just said there is very powerful, very powerful. I think he could not fathom her happiness because you got to, I mean, think about it. There are people that want you miserable because they're miserable, right? He could not stand her having the new life that she has built. It wasn't easy for her to build this new life, to come out of those relationships and the trauma and everything that she endured, as we all do at some point in our lives or another. Unless you're like Mr. McKee and just stay effing miserable, which seemed to be the case with him, right?
she was at their celebration of life services. She says it was heartwarming to hear so many wonderful stories about her dear friends.
Lacey, you have been on this story since day one, and we've heard so much about the couple's children, just 1 and 4 years old. They were in the house when their parents were killed. They weren't hurt, thankfully, but I think a lot of people are wondering tonight, how are those kids doing?
Yeah, so they're now living with family members, but Spinelli tells me they now have an army of aunts and uncles who will forever look after them. So if you want to see my full interview with Spinelli, you could go ahead and go and search on 10 TV Plus and search for this interview, and you can watch the whole interview. Reporting live.
Those kids are never, ever going to have memories of their parents. Like, up there, I am so grateful that they're going to have family members, aunts and uncles who will share those memories, and I'm glad that they have the pictures with their mom and dad. But that's the thing about death. You don't come back from it, right? And that's the most ultimate thing. This is the full interview of that, and it is a very, very good interview. Really is. Can you imagine when they see mommy and daddy's wedding video? Yeah, yeah, Kaz. Mm.
Tell me about Monique and how what was she like?
Beautiful. She was so wonderful. We just saw them on Christmas, and the last thing she said to me 3 weeks ago, and we were at Spencer and Maddie's parents, and she was like, "Gina, don't go. Spend the night. We need to talk all night. Let's hang out all night. Let's have a drinks. Let's just talk and be together." And she was just so sweet, and she was like that to everybody. And she's just, there wasn't enough words in the world to describe how beautiful and kind she was.
When I see their wedding video, I just see how beautiful they are together. And I think you can see the love that they share. What were they like in person as someone who never got the chance to meet them?
That I never saw them fight, never saw them argue. We lived in Columbus for a while, so we would hang out with them quite a bit. And
I mentioned this and I asked you guys about what your opinion was on this, and you could just see the difference in Monique and Michael McKee's wedding photo versus Monique and Spencer's wedding photo. She looks so at home, is the best words that I can describe. She looks comfortable. She looks like she's just more silly. And when I say that, I mean that affectionately. Just more comfortable. Um, all of that. All of that. McKee is a narcissist. I agree. I agree. Big difference. Lovely's house. Big difference. You can see it. You can just see the you can fake a smile, but you can't fake a genuine smile. And people know the difference. People know the difference. It's just you can tell. You can just tell.
And never, he would lay down the work, like he would do anything for her. If she didn't feel good, he would take care of it. If she wanted to leave, he would go. They were just phenomenal. And like I hate like even saying this, but I think she felt so blessed to, after what she had been through in her previous relationship, I think she just felt like she was the luckiest person in the world.
Did she talk to you about her marriage to Michael McKee?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing what she told you?
Yeah, and there not recently, not the first few times I saw her, but at the beginning, she never called. I didn't even know his name. She never said Michael. She said my ex. She said he was bad. She said abusive. I don't think she ever said physically. I don't know, but I do know she would say quite a bit. Very verbally, mentally abusive. And I don't think I ever got the impression that she was afraid of him. I got the impression that she hated him and that she knew things were bad there. And I don't think it ever fully left her mind, which I don't like to say that. And but yeah, I don't think she ever thought that.
I think that it was always probably in the back of her mind that he did not want her happy, successful, comfortable. Kind of like, if you're not going to be with me, you're not going to be happy. I can imagine, like, I would not want someone to like be with me knowing that they are miserable just for you know what I mean? Like, it's not genuine. So why?
He was, I don't think I don't. That sounds bad. I don't think anyone thought that this was going to happen. I also don't think that she ever thought he would leave her alone for the rest of her life.
So I think a big question that a lot of people have is they divorced in 2017. It's been a long time. Had he been contacting her or following her in Columbus since then that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, and not that most people that I've talked to are aware of. But he was that like he's just that sneaky kind of sociopath.
Babs, this is Monique Tepe's friend who did a sit-down interview, and they're talking about Monique and Spencer, but they're also talking about Michael McKee, the ex, and how what Monique said about the ex and all of that. It's very, very interesting. She just called him a sociopath.
And not that most people that I've talked to are aware of. But he was that like he's just that sneaky kind of sociopathic smart that I had heard a few rumors. I'm not sure I should like say exactly what, but things that he had said to people surrounding her. But I hadn't heard any like definite.
Hold on a second. What? Hold on.
He's just that sneaky kind of sociopathic smart that I had heard a few rumors. I'm not sure I should like say exactly what, but things that he had said to people surrounding her.
Yep. There we go. You hear that? Things that he had said to other people around her. Right? That's what they do. That's the way that they sneak their way in. And it's also another way for them to intimidate you, right? We've only been live like 20 minutes. That's very interesting how she is alleging that Michael apparently was talking to other people around her. Kind of makes me wonder, those people around her, did they give the pin pad? You know what I mean?
But I hadn't heard any like definite things of, he was actually anything definite, I should say. Yes.
Do you have any idea why now, after all of these years, that he's accused of doing this heinous act?
Sorry.
She's so
I think
heartbroken.
it's just because everything you see the wedding video, everything that people see is who they really were. And they were so perfect and they were so wonderful. And I think he couldn't live with it. I think he could not fathom her happiness. And she was so happy. Her kids were just playing with my kids and everything was perfect and wonderful. And you don't like to say perfect because nobody's perfect, but like to the naked eye, they were.
When you first heard what had happened, what did you think?
So my brother Rob had called my mom screaming, like inconsolably screaming. And then my mom called me right away, inconsolably screaming. And then I called Rob inconsolably. So all three of us are just screaming. And the first thing my mom said to me was, Spencer and Monique are dead. And I said, no, they're not dead. We saw them 4 days ago. They're not dead. We just saw them. How could they be dead? And she was like, no, Gina, they're dead. So my first thought was like, oh my God, they got in a car crash. And then my mom, it was before like anybody, it was before, anyone was even there. So then my mom was like, I don't know, your brother doesn't know, but it looks like murder. And I think the initial shock, I didn't think anything. And then I kind of sat with it for like 15, 20 minutes. And in my head, I'm like replaying every conversation. And within 15 minutes, I was like, oh my God, the ex.
So were you surprised when Columbus Police
Within 15 minutes, she's like, "Oh my god, the ex." Everyone knew. And while, I mean, there were creators out here just blaming people left and right. Um, the family kept it down and said, "You know what? They're just gonna take the beating, if you will." And because they could have said, "Well, we look at, Monique's ex," but they didn't want to tip him off either. So, within
He's
15
arrested
minutes.
him.
I got to, I no. I was like, thank God. We kind of knew it was coming sooner rather than later. And the police had been very tight-lipped, I will say. They'd been very tight-lipped, even with the family. We didn't know much. So we only knew about an hour or two before it actually happened that it was going to happen. And when Rob called me,
They probably will.
he was just ecstatic. He's like, it's happening soon. And we were actually driving down to Columbus for the services when I got that call, and it was just like an overwhelming wave of emotion that they got him and they got the right guy.
How were the services? I can't imagine how difficult it'd be to lay to rest two of your good friends.
We had
God,
a
I can't
reception the
either.
first night at Tartan Fields, which was beautiful, and it was small, which was nice. There was only maybe 100 people. And we were able to laugh and share funny stories because we all have funny stories. But the funeral itself was like, I think I'll live my whole life and never, ever, ever get over what it looks like to see two caskets right by each other. And then knowing who's in there. And then
Surreal.
the kind of grief that, like, you don't think you'll ever face, and you don't face. And
The live started about 27 minutes ago. I don't think I set up this live really quick, so I don't think a lot of the notifications went out.
they're just both there, and they're both, yeah, and their parents, and each set of family was on either side. And
How were their kids doing? I think a lot of people, their biggest concern when they heard what had happened.
I mean, you got to think about this. They went to bed, right? Tucked their kids in, made sure that they were comfortable and safe. I'm sure kissed each other good night and went to bed. And then hours later, they're dead. And then the friends and the family, close friends and the family, are going to a double funeral. It's beyond. It's absolutely beyond tragic.
And is thankful that the kids weren't hurt, but deeply concerned that this happened when they were in the house.
As far as I know, okay, emotionally okay. They're very young, and we are thankful they're very young. She's funny. She's like she's her mom. She's like firecracker. She's kind of bossy, but she's sweet. And they are going to be in the care of an amazing, amazing family who will love them like their own forever and ever, ever. So as horrible as it is for them, they are fortunate that they are going to be with some amazing people that will love them forever.
If a lot has come out about Spencer and Monique and, what they did for a living and that they were loving people, but is there something that you think people should know that you haven't heard a lot of people talk about them?
I would say just how funny they were. They were so, like, and Spencer just said the funniest things. Like, there's just so many stories. Like, I don't know where to begin, but just I mean, he was funny, but the things that he did and said and how kind he was. I remember it was like a holiday weekend. Excuse me. It was like Saturday of a holiday weekend. And I had like a problem with one of my teeth. And of course, all the dentists are closed. And so I just texted him. I'm like, hey, Spence, sorry to bother you. Within probably 30 seconds, he walks out of a bar and FaceTimes me immediately. And he was like, hey, sis, let's talk about those teeth. And he walked me through every single thing. Like,
That's so sweet.
he was called Sis. Sis, Maddie, my sister-in-law, was always Sis. But then there were a lot of us that were Sis to him. But he was out, with friends having a good time in the short north, and he was able to like put on his dentist cap, and just kind of, tell me what was going on with my teeth, and he was right, and that was like one of my favorite Spencer stories. But I don't know, he was just so good, and they were nervous when they were pregnant with the first one, so they would come over and practice with my kids sometimes, and it was just so cute. And they had no reason to be nervous. They were amazing.
How thankful are you that you got that last night with them?
There's no words. There's no words. I just wish we could stay longer with them. A Monique story that's funny. She was a really good baker, and she had baked this pot of this big pan of tiramisu. And my husband's Italian, and Monique and I are like shoveling it in our faces, like bowl after bowl. We're just like crushing it. And I was like, Monique, I'm gonna take a bowl of tiramisu to Dominic, and she was like, oh, Gina, no, don't do that. I said, why? She goes, a real Italian can't have this. He'll think it's terrible. He'll think I'm a terrible baker. Like, Monique, stop it. She was just funny. And I took to him, and he was like, this is delicious. Like, I wish my wife would bake me an Italian dessert. But that's just, she was funny too. And she was funny in a different way than Spencer. Spencer was funny in like the class clown, the like silly guy. And she was funny in just the like kind of always on it. Like always, hey, don't give it to him. He's Italian. But yes, but that was a wonderful, wonderful evening.
I had read somewhere that as much as she loved being a mom, she didn't love being pregnant. Is that true?
No. It wasn't yeah. It's okay. She was not, she wasn't closed off about that. But yes, and they were done. That was the end. They were not going to do more babies. They had their 2 babies, and they had their 3rd baby, Larry, who is in the very good care of Rob and Maddie. And Larry is
their golden doodle.
Oh yes, big black golden doodle. And he was at the funeral, and he was the emotional support dog, which was very cool.
That's very sweet. Yeah. Will you be following along with the court process?
As much as I can. I've been on the social media groups a little bit. I've had to take a lot of breaks. I'm sure everyone's aware, like there was a long time where people were kind of suspecting Rob, which was so ridiculous. And then they were suspecting one of our other friends.
Yeah.
And then they were suspecting the dentist. And so the reason I say it's hard to follow along is because there are still people out there that are like, I don't think this was the guy. I don't think it was him.
I know there's already people out there that are saying that they don't think that Michael McKee did this. And just like we call the pro burgers, I'm sure there'll be a name for them that'll pop up. We'll call them pro McKees right now. That they still don't believe like it's him in the back alley. Like someone's always got to screw it up. Just like Richard Allen. Yeah. Just overwhelming freaking evidence. You can show them evidence till the cows come home, and they will twist it in their mind some way or another. I mean, there's so many. There's creators that I really respected, like thought that they were like kissing Brian Koberger's ass. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, these are high profile cases. Trust me, they're going to make sure that they got it locked down, right? So I know. You can tell she's a really good friend, a really good friend. This is a really good interview that just came out just an hour ago or so.
When all of us who knew them, every single one of us knew that this was the guy. And I wish I could tell that to every single person that is saying no. It's yes. If you knew Monique, you knew this was what happened to her. So I will follow along as best I can. I don't really want to know. I don't want to know the bad details. I don't want to know. And I don't want to remember how they went. I want to remember who they are now, or who they were to me, and who they were to all of us, not how they left us. So I do, but I will say I do hope this person, I don't even like to say something, I hope he doesn't see the light of day again.
Me too.
Anything else you want to share with us about Monique, what she was like as a friend?
She was just kind, and she was always asking about you. Like, she was asking about your life, what's going on with you, how are you doing. She was one of those people that genuinely, like, when I'm with my friends, I'm kind of all over the place. She was one of those people that could, like, just make eye contact with you and make you feel like you were her, her friend, her close friend, no matter who it was. And she was also like, and I'm like this too, but she, in a good way, she was a hugger and a toucher. And when you were talking with her, you were close, and she would touch, like, touch your shoulder. But what happened to her, and it's just, she was way too good, or everyone in the world is too good for that. But I will say, I think that her reward for the hell that she lived for years was Spencer. And she knew that. She knew every day that was the reward.
Are you kind of surprised at the national attention that has been given to your friends' deaths? Yes.
I would say mostly because, like I said, like, we knew before the media was even there. We probably knew an hour before the media was there, and so I was, like, refreshing the apps, seeing what was going on, if it had been caught up yet. And when it started to happen, it was obviously, like, everyone was playing it out like you would think, like, oh, this could be a murder suicide, and then, like, 2 bodies. And so I think we absolutely expected that first night, the local, of course. When the national media picked it up, I personally, and I think a lot of people, were shocked beyond belief how quickly it became a big story. And then even more so, like, you can't even get on Facebook without seeing their faces, which is good. I mean, it's hard. I don't love that, but it's good that most people have been very kind and have said kind things. But yeah, it's crazy how much it blew up and how fast.
All right. I think that is just a wonderful interview, if you ask me. How she really kind of let you know who Spencer and Monique were, and it just kind of let you in a little bit more. So about the just breaking just a little bit ago about the thing that was in court, right? they're saying that is clerical errors. I want to show you this. Clerical error reopened the Tepe McKee divorce case months before the killings. Came out just a few hours ago. And let me show you that. It's so I don't think something was taking place. It was supposedly clerical error. You go to Ashley Banfield News Nation.
About a major case that's still in flux, especially like, this Spencer and Monique Tepe case. The people on my side of the cameras, we focus on two things. We focus on what the investigators say, and then we focus on what they don't say. Sometimes it's louder. In the don't say column, when police in Columbus, Ohio faced reporters today for the first time since the Tepes were killed, they declined to reveal a motive. Why a vascular surgeon from Illinois allegedly gunned down
Well, but she kind of hints on, in my opinion, what it
ex-wife and her
is.
current husband 2 states away, nearly a decade after they parted. Why? Chief Elaine Bryant did call the murders a, quote, targeted domestic violence attack. That's pretty telling. And she did say police recovered weapons, plural, from Dr. Michael McKee's penthouse condo in Chicago, including the alleged murder weapon. And how do police know that? Well, Banfield viewers, you were tipped off to that on Monday during my interview with former prosecutor Matt Murphy. Here's what he said.
What's really interesting, Ashley, is there is a system known as NIBIN, and that's the National Ballistics database, where they take shell casings, assuming it's a semi-automatic handgun. We don't know that yet. But the shell casings that get expended on those, they're like DNA for firearms.
Now, fast forward to this morning in Columbus, Ohio. Here is that same chief I was talking about, Elaine Bryant.
And there's a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons.
There you go.
That ties it to the homicides.
There you go. That tells you that shell casings and his GUNs, his weapons, have already been tested. And preliminary, it shows a link. That's big. Very, very big, actually. So listen to this. Yes, it will. Let me just play that.
That ties it to the homicides. From our NIBIN,
right there,
to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides.
Blinking, you missed it, but she said there's a preliminary link from our NIBIN, that database. NIBIN, it stands for National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. I know, it's a mouthful. NIBIN's easier. And as Matt Murphy said, it's basically a library, like a database that can trace bullets and shell casings back to the gun that fired them. For now, the make and model of the gun that killed the Tepes is still in the we're not saying column, but this might, however, answer the question as to why it was ATF agents who actually made the caller, the ones who arrested Dr. Michael McKee last Saturday near the Rockford, Illinois hospital where he worked. As it turns out, the NIBIN database is an ATF creation. That happened back in 1999. Something else that we learned today, a shadowy person of interest seen on surveillance video in the alley behind the Tepes' home in the time of the murders. Well, according to the police, it's him. It's Dr. Michael McKee. They told us that today, although we all wondered, didn't we? There's so many interesting things I'm going to tell you about, like the way he's walking, the height, the gait, the stride, all of that. It's a dead giveaway if you know what to look for. But now I want to turn to something that struck me as very interesting in today's police press conference. One answer that was definitive and one answer that wasn't, but spoke volumes nonetheless. The definitive answer was that there have been no police reports made about Dr. McKee stalking or harassing Monique Tepe before the murders. That at least was said about that house. No reports from that house. But when reporters asked if there had been any communications between Dr. McKee and Monique Tepe, this was the answer the police chief gave.
Can you tell us if McKee and Mrs. Tepe had any contact leading up to this incident, months, weeks?
There are some things that we can't share for investigative purposes, but what I can tell you again is that we didn't have any reports or anything linked to that specific location as it relates to the ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
Okay. So no reports
I
ever came
gotta
from
show y'all
1411
something.
North
Hold
4th
on.
Street about Dr. McKee, but could they have come from any other locations about Dr. McKee? Don't know. And notice how the chief hedged on the question of communications. She said, there are some things we cannot share. She didn't say no reports of communications. So the silence to me speaks volume. Is it possible there were contacts between McKee and Monique, or maybe even between McKee and her husband, Spencer Tepe? I think we're going to find all of this out in the days, weeks, and months ahead. We may hear more details earlier, too, at Dr. McKee's first court date in Ohio. This was just his quick appearance, first time before a judge. He's in Winnebago County. It's not where he's going to be tried. It's where they picked him up. It's where his hospital is in Rockford, Illinois. But he's going to be extradited, right? He's got a date scheduled in Ohio. Actually, it was scheduled for Monday of next week, but they've already now pushed it to Friday, the 23rd of January. Apparently, whoever is in charge of moving him can't do it quickly. Even though he waived extradition. And even though he allegedly made that drive himself, just 6 hours it took him, give or take, between Christmas and New Year's. Joining me now with her expertise on all of this is former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffendorfer. Okay, Jennifer, I thought of you right away after the press conference, and I asked myself, I wonder what Jen thought of that. So I'll ask you, what does Jen think?
We'll get to that in a second.
Well, I'll tell you what, I agree with you.
1 second here. So what the NIBIN means is every pew, every GUN, it leaves these tiny scratches, if you will, on like the bullet casings, right? And the scratches are so small, they're nearly microscopic, but they have a software, and each GUN has its own unique scratching, right? So, like if police find shell casings at a crime scene and then they find a GUN at the perpetrator's home, they will test the shell casing scratches, if you will, with that GUN. And if they said already in this case that the preliminary testing shows that there's a match. Now they'll have to go into deeper testing, but the preliminary testing comes back that it's interesting. That's why when they said that there was shell casings left there, I was like, oh my God. Because a shell casing is basically, if you can find the shell casing and you can find the weapon, it's almost a DNA match for a weapon, GUN. Also, they can tell if this shell casing and this GUN has ever been in any other crimes because it goes into the national database, right? So people who leave their shell casings behind, they freak out afterwards, or their adrenaline's pumping, and they want to get in and get out. Big mistake. And that's why there's always something left behind. Nerdy, thank you so much, my darling. Really, really do appreciate you, my dear. Thank you so much for your support. That made sound like such beautiful souls inside and out, heartbreaking and tragic. Thank you, Justin. Love you and all the pearls. Remember to hit that thumbs up. Thank you, Miss Nerdy. Appreciate you, my love. Very kind of you. Truly means quite a bit. Quite a bit. Let me see here if I've got a photo or whatever, but and also like they can with this, for instance, they can link other information to that shell casing. Right. And if they can't find the people who did it, right? Let me see if I can show you this right here. We'll get right back to this in just 1 second. I want to show you this real quick because it's very interesting how this works. So, like if there is a Glock, right? A Glock, they can tie it to, this person was driving a 2015 Toyota Camry, even, right? They'll be able to track any place where, through any crime, if this GUN or shell casing comes up, they'll be able to track it throughout history, really, right? So it's very, very interesting how they can do that now. And that's why when they said shell casings, I was like, oh, it's gonna be very interesting. Okay, let's get back.
Her not answering some of those questions right off the bat and being very specific made me think they have so much information related to an intersection between these two at some point before the murder. Maybe that was that proximal event I always talk about that happened that ignited this action that he took.
Talk to me about NIBIN, because I've always been under the impression that NIBIN, again, this sort of ballistics dating site, right, for lack of a better description, really got weapons that are out there from bad people doing bad things that already got arrested, and those weapons went into the register. This guy, Dr. Michael McKee, is clean as a whistle. He doesn't have a scratch on his record.
You know, when you think of using NIBIN, that's typically in gang investigations and violent crime investigations where you don't have any clue who somebody committed it, but you have these casings that could connect to another crime. That's what we think of using NIBIN for. But the fact that there is an intersection here tells me that perhaps he bought this weapon at a pawn shop. Perhaps he bought it from a friend of a friend who somehow was connected to some time where that weapon was used, and NIBIN considered it important.
For folks who watch the show on a regular basis, I think they're going to know the answer to this question, but for folks who are kind of getting into the true crime,
this GUN was already in the NIBIN database, and apparently Mr. Tepe did not know that. If you buy a pew pew from a pawn shop, or if it's used, for example, it may already be in the NIBIN database and you don't know. Okay? So it's best to buy a brand new pew pew rather than get one at the pawn shop, because it might, or there's nothing wrong with it being in, the NIBIN website. It doesn't make your GUN dirty or anything like that. But there was some interest that it could have already been in some other crime. Right? GUNs are only to do one thing, right? And that is to unalive something, whether that's an animal or what. They're there only for one purpose, right? and that is death on something.
Space. A lot of people would wonder, why are the police so tight-lipped? They say they caught their guy. He's arrested. He's not getting out on bail. What's the big deal?
This is a big deal. Right now, they are looking at interviewing witnesses, anybody who saw or knew anything or understood that there were any issues. The minute you start releasing details about the investigation, you no longer know whether
I would say so. You probably have something similar to that in Canada, but Canada's a lot more strict on GUNs to begin with. That's why there's so many arsons in Canada. In Canada, you get your place burned down. That's what they do.
individual you're
So many
interviewing is
arsons.
providing details that they really knew, or was it something they heard on the news? So it's very important that they stay tight-lipped at this stage.
And also that ever-present preservation of a prosecution. You know, if they look, Koberger, they didn't get to prosecute him. It was just a deal. But if this goes to trial, you need to really hold your cards close to your vest. You got to share the discovery with the defendant, but you don't got to share it with Ashley, you know? So I am super curious about the confirmation today that the police said it was Dr. McKee, in their words, that skulking figure in the back alley. What is your estimation from your law enforcement background on how they determined that that was him?
Well, first of all, always, he has had this extremely unique gait. When I say always, I mean in all this film we've seen of him, from the beginning of time, he had that left foot that curved in, kind of pigeon-toed, has a very long gait, and you could tell he was a big man, not a small man. In addition, look at his clothing. It is unique to him, and I believe it was likely the clothing and maybe even that shoe tread that you touched on a few segments ago. That led them to know this is him.
So at the end, I'm just going to tell the viewers, watch the very end, what he does with his face. And he looks away, takes his hand up, kind of covers his face, pulls the hoodie down. I mean, that's a big telltale too. Look, in cold weather, I do that too. I grew up in Winnipeg. But if you are leaving a murder scene and you know there are cameras, this is kind of the behavior you might actually emit.
Exactly, Ashley. From the beginning, when
First
this
time I seen it,
person of
look at his
interest,
foot.
you know, was identified by law enforcement, to me, this person was so important. He was right near the crime scene at the time of the crime, and the way he acted like he was trying to hide and was guilty of something. So definitely a person of interest, a suspect.
So my guess, Jennifer, is there's a team of detectives still working this case and fanning out to try to figure out more material that will help prosecutors. They don't have to prove motive, but juries really want it. Who are they going to be interviewing to try to determine if there was, well, we know there was, but the extent of the acrimony between Monique Tepe and her ex-husband, Dr. Michael McKee? How will they find all that?
Well, they are going to start with everyone, Ashley. They have to go clear back years from when they were first married, identify mutual individuals, try to figure out if there was any sort of pattern of domestic abuse that then led to this. Obviously, they've been divorced now 9 years, but did he express to anybody the anger and resentment that he must have harbored if indeed he committed this crime? And what did she say? Has she told anybody about her concerns about Mr. McKee? Was that something that, you know, she left on the table for them? All of this is going to be explored by law enforcement.
Every time I see that wedding picture, I'm just so sad because she just seemed so happy in this new life. And then there are those two children who don't have those two parents anymore. Jennifer Coffendorfer, always appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley.
All right, there's Chris. What's that? Hold on. I want to see this. I haven't seen this one yet. Damn, why did not show it? Hold on. What happened to it? I wanted to see the one with Chris. Let's see what they got here. Oh, wow. A 6.0 Earthquake felt west of Oregon coast 11 seconds ago. Do we got anybody on the Oregon coast right now? I don't think you can work as a doctor with a felony. No, no. Nope. Anybody in Oregon? I didn't see that. I Googled it and it said, no, you can't work. No, you can't work as a, no, no. So like, if you get, like, if doctors get, like, you're in a divorce and you get even like a restraining order or anything like that, you may not be working even with that, even with like a restraining order, or your surgery privileges can be revoked. Like, you have to be top notch all the time.
And spill a whole bunch of lies. The same impulse that leads certain people to kill can also lead them to try to talk their way out of trouble. And that may have happened already with Dr. McKee.
Nope.
And Jeanette Levy
Title
of Law and
stripped.
Crime reports that Dr. McKee gave the police an alibi that did not hold up. But today at their press conference, police said that by the time they actually put him in cuffs, he invoked his right to remain silent. But had he already said too much before his arrest? I can tell you this much. If the surgeon told the police something like, "No, officer, I've never set foot in the Tepe's house," and if hypothetically his DNA, his hair, or a fiber from any of his clothes is found in that house, that's what I say in legalese, your goose is cooked.
Yep. Yeah. So say, for instance, the police will say, well, have you ever been in the Tepe's house? And you say, no. Well, if they find a fiber, a hair, anything that's yours, whether you have a cat and the cat's hair is in the Tepe's home, or one of their dog hair is in his home or something like that, and you tell them, no, you haven't been around each other, it's not going to go good for you. Not going to go for you. So, that's why it's always best, in my opinion, to
What else might have Dr.
lawyer
McKee
up.
told the police, along with that alleged bogus alibi? It's why Mark Garagos stays up at night and always says, call your lawyer before ever opening your mouth. He's a legendary defense attorney. He's co-host of the two podcasts, Too Angry.
Listen, there's a saying, if you are guilty, right? Wait, what's the saying? If you're guilty, you need a lawyer. If you're innocent, you really need a lawyer. Or maybe it's the opposite. I can't remember. But you get the point. You need an attorney. And just so you know, it cannot be held against you that you look any more guilty by invoking your right to an attorney. Please remember that. Please, for the love of God, remember that. Law enforcement, if they like, especially if you're involved in something or whatever, get a fucking attorney. Or if you feel like they're pushing you or trying to, let your attorney deal with it 100% of the time. Always. Always.
Men and Reasonable Doubt, and he's a longtime friend of the show from the very beginning. Mark Garagos, that was the first thing I thought of, was that has this guy possibly painted himself into a corner because the police call the exes first?
They always do. And people always, unfortunately, have this reflexive need to kind of talk and basically talk themselves or paint themselves into a corner. And unfortunately, I've said it, I can't tell you how many times, on the federal level, They almost never record what you say, so it's your word versus their word about what you said. And then when it comes to local, sometimes they hear something, you didn't mean it that way.
He's an
it
old
doesn't
drunk
come across
pervert,
that
in
way.
my opinion.
It's a no-win situation. You do not talk yourself out of something. You only talk yourself into something.
Can I ask you this? And I'm sure you know it because you've seen the transcripts over and over in your line of work. What's the first question police always ask the ex when they make contact?
They always want to know, was there trouble in paradise, basically. There's always some form or derivation of how was the relationship? What was the relationship? When was the last time you saw her? And they go down the usual litany of questions. And people always think they're going to spin it, they're going to do whatever. I mean, I understand the urge. I mean, nobody wants to be, imagine if you didn't do something. Nobody wants to be falsely accused. And imagine if you did do something. You don't want to talk yourself into it. It's just a no-win situation most of the time.
He's right about
And
that.
obviously, there are exceptions. There's no hard and fast rule in every single situation. But it almost inevitably in these cases, I can't tell you the number of times I've sat in a trial, in a murder trial, where the words of my client come back, and that is what you spend the whole time having to explain, having to interpret, having to provide context, and basically doing the battle that you never had to do.
Yeah, and it basically...
I could not be a defense attorney. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. I mean, because you have to, you have to defend them whether you think they're guilty or not, right? And you have to make the waters as muddy as possible and, make sure that seed of doubt is planted in every one of those jurors' heads. And I would just look over and be like, "You guilty fuck." I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. Hey, I think he is, Tina.
Can torpedo a defense. For instance, if the original cops who reached out to him just because he was the ex, not because they suspected that he was a murderer, asked him, have you ever been in their house? Were you in Columbus that night? Have you ever been in the Tepe house? And if he answered no, well, how on earth does a defense attorney deal with forensics that might show hair, fibers, DNA of the defendant in that home or of the victims in the defendant's
Night, baby.
home?
Get some rest.
And by the way, I take that same situation if it's unrecorded and you heard or understand the question to be, were you there this day or were you there last week? And you thought that's what they were asking. But in fact, you were there a month ago, 2 months ago, and that isn't what you were focused on. Something that is a harmless answer can be twisted around because, and I'm not saying
shut
law
up.
enforcement necessarily does that, but you're talking about two different people with two different agendas looking at the same situation. And the person who is in the crosshairs, if you're innocent and you have somebody, a loved one that's missing, you want to help, you want to give information. You're not looking to try to protect yourself. And the person who is asking the questions is coming into this situation. They have no idea what the relationship was. They're trying to get information. It's just a very difficult dance to navigate. And remember, one side is a hardened investigator who's been through this a zillion different times, and somebody else who is scared, traumatized, and presumably doesn't have any experience in this area.
Quick answer on this one, but I have to get your perspective. Police say they found the murder weapon in the house. What criminal keeps a murder weapon, let alone in his house, if Dr. McKee is indeed the killer?
Well,
to be so intelligent, being a doctor, he is not very smart in criminology. That is for damn sure. That is for damn sure. He is not so smart in criminology. I mean, he probably had his fucking clothes dry cleaned before, who knows. I was watching a crime like that. The killer had their clothes dry cleaned. I'm like, are you kidding me? He kept the GUN. He drove all of these hours. There's cameras right outside their damn house. Cameras on the next door neighbors, cameras in the backyard. This is Columbus, Ohio, on a interstate that has cameras, license plate readers everywhere. How are you going to explain your alibi that you were in your ex's city for a day or a few hours, maybe minutes even, and you drove straight back home that night, and those 3 shell casings are lining up, allegedly, preliminary, with the GUN that you have in your home. Like, how do you explain that? A lot of people say that, Sarah. I think he may have wanted to get caught. You never know. You never know. He could feel like his life was over without her, or that he was never going to be happy. And because Monique was happy, his life was over anyways. And he wanted, you know, everyone to be unhappy or dead.
Finding the murder weapon in the house doesn't tie it to him unless there's some other evidence. Just like
The fuck,
most acts.
you, Ashley, please speak up on this. I have not seen this interview, but please speak up on this. This guy allegedly left 3 shell casings, right? And the Nibbin database has his GUN in the database. And then tell me, please, for God's sakes, tell me how in the hell this gun got from Columbus, Ohio to his closet so quickly. Come on now. I mean, I know he's a defense attorney and all that, but shit, come on now.
Car accidents happen close to home. Unfortunately, many homicides happen in the house or in the curtilage of the house. So that alone doesn't do it for me.
I don't know. If I'm a juror, I don't know why a murder weapon would end up in an ex-husband's
Thank you,
home
Ashley.
6 hours drive away. But there's so much we have yet to find
I
out.
see. I have
Mark
not
Argos,
seen this
thank you. I
interview.
always
God is my witness. I have not seen this interview, but I was praying to God Ashley was going to say something. She just said the same thing. I don't know how his GUN, showed up 6 hours away in his fucking closet, the ex-husband. Come on. Come on. And this guy's like, well, this doesn't really do it for me. Well, how about did allegedly Diddy's baby oil do it for you?
appreciate your perspective.
See you Friday.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
I just need to take a minute because you could tell Ashley right here. Watch her. You can tell she's like, get this fucker off my screen. Watch her double blink at the very end.
Much we have yet to find out. Mark Argos, thank you. I always appreciate your perspective.
See you Friday.
Thank you.
Mark Garagos, we thank you for being here. See you Friday. You sound like Janie. You need to be with Janie. How about that, mother chicken? Good God. See you Friday, sis. Disgusting fuck. Oh my God. She's double, maybe even triple blinked. Mm-hmm. I can't with these people, these defense attorneys. They like Nancy Grace. She fucking goes off on them, and I'm like, they're doing their job. I get it, but they're so ridiculous sometimes that you can't help it. You can't fucking help it. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, I've got to show you. Oh, guys. Guess what? Guess what? There's some photos out there of McKee that it's pretty interesting. By the way, happy birthday to Goldie Hawn. It was her birthday day before yesterday. I love Goldie Hawn. Did you guys see old dude's dating profile? Yes. Rutu, yes. Cinder says it is from December of 2022. Unsure why it says age 32 since he is now 39 and the math doesn't math. Decided to crop to satisfy guidelines. What went wrong? Let me zoom in on this mother chicken. Like, okay, he is much better looking here. Like, I don't like, I mean, he's okay there, but like, he's very handsome here. Very handsome here. Right? Now, look at this. What the fuck happened, man? I guess stress can really, really get to you. I mean, you see this, right? Now, look at this. You guys know that little meme or whatever when you blink on YouTube, it's like blink, 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 blink. That's the fuck what I'm doing right now. Maybe it's the steroids. Whatever. Maybe he quit taking care of himself. Like he's just so much better looking there. He's got Mike and he's got something else. And then he's good looking there. Looks good there. Lucky to work, I find meaning and increased free time for new things. Currently trying hot yoga, way less flexible than I recall. Planning trip, itineraries for finally make use of global entry and hopped on an electric motorcycle. Haven't died yet. Graduate degree, socially drinks, never smokes. He wants babies someday. My interest, art, design, basketball, football, skiing. Okay. Okay. There is seriously something wrong when a doctor can. That's, of course, Tina. I mean, most people are, in heat for doctors, right? Like, they can find anybody they want. Imagine what the woman who went on dates with him are thinking. Probably facetuned his pictures. Catfished. What the fuck? I said I want the hot guy, not fucking Buzz Lightyear. Hello. You look like a fucking Muppet right here. What the hell? He had it all. Happy birthday, Misty Wolf. Happy birthday, darling. Happy birthday, love. How old are you today? 22? Well, he can try to make babies with Bubba. He can try. I don't know what the hell happened with him. But let me see if I can find it here. I thought there was more photos or something. Maybe, hold on, I thought there was more. Wait a second. I got to show y'all some more pictures here in a minute of something, but very, very interesting. Maybe it's under this one. Let me go to, I think it might be Facebook on here. Yeah, total difference. Total difference. All right. One second. OSF Rockford sent out a mass email to employees. So on Monday, OSF Rockford sent out a mass email to employees regarding the arrest of one of the vascular surgeons, Dr. Michael McKee. I'm writing on a copy of the email, but can share with the shared meet. Okay. They basically said that they were made aware of the incident, have taken appropriate employment actions for the individual, and are cooperating with law enforcement. Yeah, we knew that. Okay. We knew all that. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. Man, I thought there was more. Oh, he likes to ski too, he says. Okay, look at this. These are more like up close. What's that? Baby kisses? Lucky to have work. I find meaning in increased free time for new things. Currently trying hot yoga way less flexible than I recall. Planning trips, itineraries to finally make use of global entry, and hopped on an electric motorcycle. Haven't died yet. What is this? Is this a bowling bag? Or is this his man purse? Not close up. Oh, let me see his ears here. He definitely had to get his fucking ears pinned. See, he's tanned here as well. And to me, he looks like he's at an older person's house. Don't you think? He's at an older person's house here. Probably his parents. That looks like an older person's house. That's what I thought. It was a bowling bag. Well, guess what? Mr. McKee will not be keeping those balls in any longer. Welcome to prison, Justin Diaz, Tier insult. But his ears, they look lower here. Maybe. Let's see here. I mean, his ears are a little lower. You can tell he's just really not happy there. They're him. It is what it is. They're him. They are. Just aged really rough. 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 He's roughing. All right. Look at this, guys. Someone was on one of their routes.
So, you guys, I had no idea that this house, hold on. I'm on route, I'm on my map at work. And this is the house that the dentist and the wife were, found, Isn't that crazy? Look, they got people love flowers and it's so sad. I don't know why I feel weird. It's so weird just sitting here. Like, it's right by my job, and my map today is right by my job. Like, it's crazy because some people were saying, like, oh, it's in a bad neighborhood. And then some people are like, it's not a bad neighborhood. It is half and half over here because we are off of campus, and then some parts of it are pretty hood. Like, and they want to start building these houses out here thinking that the other, areas are going to not, I mean, you got so much out here. Go down to High Street and you got the fiends out and the homeless. Like, it's crazy. It's I can't believe this is on my route. I just left one of my streets, and when I pulled around, I seen the news station, and I looked over and I saw the house, and I was like, oh my God, it just made my stomach sink. It's just an eerie feeling. It's really, really sad. I hope them babies are okay. Have a safe day, everybody. So, you guys, I had no...
Yes, I do think he's on steroids. I do think he's on steroids or something. I mean, steroids are really bad for you. They're really bad for you. Bad. Now, they will, they take inflammation out and all that, but it is what it is. Did you get my joke? We were talking about that one day in your chat. But I think that they can age you really quickly as well. His neck is so thick, it's weird. Roid rage is a thing. It sure is. They can make you super angry. Yep. They can give you a lot of energy as well. They can cause a lot of things. You got it. It is what it is. She has a 200-pound tortoise. Oops, hold on. Let me fix this. Okay.
For the first time from some of Spencer Tepe's former co-workers. Spencer and his wife, Monique, were found dead in their home in Wineland Park. Monique's ex-husband is now facing charges of aggravated murder.
Spencer worked at a dental practice in Ashland for years, and tonight, 10 TV's Angela Ann shares the memories of who Spencer's co-workers say he really was.
For 8 years at Stone Creek Dental Care in Ashland, Julie Rodabaugh and Michelle Clark were greeted by Dr. Spencer Tepe.
Every time he walked in the office, he was always in a good mood and said good morning to everybody. He just had happy presence about him all the time.
That presence and his signature laugh filling every room.
It was just loud, but it was awesome.
His impact reaching far beyond the office.
He just loved his patients. He really cared about his dentistry.
After working together nearly a decade,
You become more than just coworkers.
closeness showing up in everyday moments, even the silly ones.
You couldn't embarrass him. I mean, there was a time when she was working with him over a patient and accidentally the water syringe squirted him in the forehead.
He had water dripping. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He would just started laughing.
he just
He's like,
laughed.
oh my God.
Spencer and his beloved wife Monique were building a beautiful life. Julie and Michelle say they felt lucky to be a part of it. Spencer left the office last summer, yet their bond never did until the end.
Probably just like a couple days before even of the incident, he texted us a picture of his family. My comment back to him was just like, you guys look so happy.
Yeah.
Which makes this so hard.
Yesterday, you know, the services was amazing. It was beautiful. And that helped.
Some of his friends spoke. Some of Monique's friends spoke. Everybody's jam-packed into this room, and we were literally, elbow to elbow.
The loss is still sinking in, but they want the world to remember Spencer for who he truly was.
He had a unique way, it seemed, of making whoever he was with like feel very special. Really just was a genuinely nice person.
Okay. Those was his former people that worked for Dr. Tepe. Check this out. These are pictures. One of Monique's friends posted this. I can't play the music, but I can play this. 1 second. Pop this up here. And I mean, they were so young. You know what I mean? So young. Just really, really sad. Oh, what's wrong, Kelly? Oh, I'm sorry, babe. That sucks when things like that happen. So can a 4-year-old tell, because a lot of things we're asking in the beginning, right? Would a 4-year-old be able to identify an alleged suspect? That was a big question, would the 4-year-old know? Listen to this.
Police specialized skill, and one that many police officers just hand right over to the experts, like Dr. Rebecca Bailey. She's a leading family psychologist and former personal therapist of J.C. Dugard. J.C., you'll remember, was abducted by a convicted sex offender while walking to the bus stop at just 11 years old. She remained missing for more than 18 years, bearing 2 children by her rapist. Her rapist and his wife are serving life. Dr. Bailey, thank you so much for being here. Just walk me through what happens now, if you could, with these little tiny witnesses. I'm just going to assume the 1-year-old is out of the picture, but that the 4-year-old could be questioned. What actually happens?
Well, what's important that when they are questioned, and particularly you're right, the 4-year-old is with somebody who's really well trained in forensics There are protocols that are used throughout the country that is responsible training, which include being very careful about not re-traumatizing the child, which, as we watched with that one, my heart just went into my feet. Bless that kid's heart. You want to be very careful about not suggesting things, about not doing leading questions, taking a kid into repeated interviews. We're very careful about that. Also titrating at times. The experience, the environment where you do the interview is super, super important. You don't want it done in the police station. 4-year-olds, like any other age, also can be very variable in their ability to recall.
Well, girls, I think girls mature faster than boys, and they advance everything earlier than boys. So, they have 2 daughters.
Accurately. And then the last thing is if it is somebody known to the child, you can see a tremendous loyalty bind at times. It's just so heartbreaking, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you something, that AJ Hutto, you didn't even see the most traumatizing moment on the stand when they asked him to identify his mom, and he looked around the courtroom and didn't, and then suddenly recognized there she was. She'd been away from him, locked up for years, and he just burst into tears. It broke my heart. I covered it live. But I do want to ask you about the suggestibility, because one of the things in AJ's case that was questioned by Amanda's defense lawyer was that this child had been put in the back of a car with other family members who hated Amanda and said all sorts of things about Amanda, and that might be the memory of little AJ. How does an expert know when you're getting the real witnessed event or just what was suggested to them?
Well, it's challenging. We absolutely know it's challenging. The basic when a child is being interviewed in the formal manner, you want to make sure that they are able to give child-centered language, meaning that they're using words that sound like a child would use, they're concrete, they're able to stay with the same story without a whole lot of fantastical elaboration to what they're saying. So that's really one of the ways to do a veracity check. It's again challenging. So you're looking.
Yeah,
for
I would imagine
language.
that. I was just going to say, I would imagine that the parents or the adults who are trying to meddle with a child wouldn't think to use 4-year-old lingo. They would just talk in their own mannerisms, and that would be absorbed and then regurgitated by the child.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And a lot of my work, as you know, has been in the treatment side of it. And even in that side, you have to be really careful with suggestibility, because you can change the course of a person's perspective in treatment as well. And sometimes when I know, particularly in a don't want to get into a tough area, but high conflict divorce, if the language doesn't fit, you know that you're not seeing a authentic expression of what occurred.
Good night, Sarah.
I will
Love
also
you.
tell you, I have worked on one very tragic case where the mother was murdered, and they haven't actually pinned the murder to the person they believe, but because it was a family member, alleged family member. And these children, the loyalty bind is so deep. You can see it, that they just can't spill the tea. They just can't. And it's not because they're bad people hiding. Mm-hmm.
Sure. And sometimes they start saying things and then start to realize what they're saying is damaging to their loved one. And then they, like AJ just said, no, sir, I'm not going to show you what I just said. So it really, I could see your reaction. And I had the same one. Let me tell you, it was so hard sitting through that trial. Dr. Rebecca Bailey, I'm going to call on you again, because I think there's more to this story, and I think those kids will play a part. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. Take care. Bye.
You too. Good to see you again. Nice to have you back on the show. Getting accurate forensic information from a young child is an extremely specialized skill, and one that many police officers just hand right over to the experts, like Dr. Rebecca Bailey. She's a leading family psychologist and former personal therapist.
Okay. So I thought that was interesting as well. Let's see here. Doesn't he just look bitter as hell? Look at this picture. I just can't get over this picture. They got a perfect picture of. Look at him. Like he looks just all steroid out, and they just look so happy and vibrant. You can tell if someone's just like sick in their head or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah, let me see here. Guys, let me see if I've got it pulled up. We're going to be covering probably tomorrow. There is a child missing out of Oregon, and this teenager, got in a car with a man, and they are looking for that man, but they have no idea like where the hell they are at all. And it's very, very weird. Do I got it pulled up? Let me see if I got it pulled up here. And then there's also a 13-year-old girl in Illinois. Be on the lookout. Police are in Chicago are seeking tips on a 13-year-old girl who has not been seen since January 11th. According to Chicago Police Department, how do you pronounce her name? Aliana Maria Lozano Gayton. See if I can get a picture of her. They're looking for her. And right here she is. Anybody in the Chicago area? Oh, really, Lamira? Another one in San Antonio? 13 years old, 5'5", 100 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair, complexion medium, Hispanic, last seen January 11th. She was last seen around the 2600 block of West 36th Street. She was last seen wearing a black hooded sweatshirt with a Spider-Man logo, black jeans, and black gym shoes. If you have information, please call the area's 1 SVU Detective 312-747-8380, or if you're local, you can call 911. Take a look at that picture. Really well there. And then we may cover 2 arrested for the murder of North Carolina teen found pew-pewed to death in a ditch. Police in northwestern North Carolina have now made 2 arrests in the murder of an Asheville teen who was last seen in November and found dead in a ditch in Chandler on December 12th. Jonathan David Polino, 21, was arrested on December 19th and charged with first-degree unaliving in the death of 18-year-old Joseph. Hold on, moved. Joseph Salmon Rose, WLOS reported. And on Tuesday, police arrested 20-year-old Avery Kate Deeds, charging her with concealment of Rose's death and disturbing his remains. It's a very interesting case. Look at this.
New charges for a second person related to the fatal shooting of a teenager. 20-year-old Avery Kate Deeds was arrested and charged for concealing 18-year-old Joseph Rose's death and disturbing his remains. Rose was reported missing back in November by his sister. Deputies found his body in December and determined his death to be a homicide. The Buncombe County Sheriff's Office arrested 21-year-old Jonathan Polino for Rose's death. Right now, Deeds' bond is set at $80,000. New charges for a second person related
Yeah,
to the
two different arrested. Let me see here. This is where they were found. I remember when this broke. I mean, this kid looks like something off of a movie. Doesn't he? Like, he's gray almost. He's so pale or something. And then he's got fucking clown hair. It's weird. And then this one right here, it's like so weird. Just a good kid right here with his guitar. It's crazy to me. There's another missing person. Huh. If anybody has anything, you can send it to me as well. He looks like the shooter from the Boston. Yeah, something like that. I knew it, like he looked familiar, like a look I've seen before or something. I don't know. All right, guys. He's identical to the yeah, something. I knew it's like I couldn't picture it. Thank you all for joining me. I do appreciate you all, you amazing, beautiful souls. I will be back tomorrow, Lord willing, and we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to do at least 2 lives tomorrow. There's a lot I have to talk about with some new cases and, of course, the Tepe case and all of that. So thank y'all. Appreciate you. Thank you, Rhonda, Rutui, Magic Star, Jamie Brown, P-Girl, Wendy, It Is What It Is, Tina, Allison, Not, good to see you. Did I get snow today? School was closed here today. Yeah. It's started snowing yesterday evening and just terrible. We're already on a 2-hour delay again for tomorrow. So it's like so cold. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Rhonda, thank you so much. 13 months, girl. Love you too, baby. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. So much of the country is cold right now. I mean, I think it was snowing in Florida. Because I know, like, some of y'all was like in Florida, like, text me and they were like, I don't know. Smiley, she texts me. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to snow. I'm like, you get snow once every decade. We get snow once every 48 hours. But they just don't know what to do, in the South whenever it snows. So, all right, guys. Thank you all for joining me. It was 60 today. Ugh, this must be nice, Rhonda. Must be nice. Much love, everyone. God bless you all. Good night.